Look at that, -4. That means first frosts of winter. So it's time to have a look at some batteries. Seeing it's cold outside and it's the first frost of winter, better get round to looking after our batteries on our vehicles. I was thinking about this last night, how I could do this video. I might do it in 3 different stages, I'm not quite sure, I'll see how it goes. But winter is a big killer of batteries. Perhaps you know that the colder it gets, the less performance you have in a battery. And if a battery is really low and it's -10, -20 outside, the battery will freeze and then it's no good at all because it'll buckle. Now, I've been watching a few videos on YouTube whilst entertaining myself, and these people who are rejuvenating batteries by using Epsom salts and baking soda and taking the acid out and filling it full of this mix and swilling them out and then charging them up, and yes, it'll get to 13 volts. But what they fail to tell you is there's no amps behind it. That's the problem. You can get to 13 volts but have no capacity in that battery. Washing batteries out is a complete waste of time. It is, all you're doing is desulfating the plates. Well, that's all very well and good, but it's still a sign of a knackered battery, because once you take the sulphur off the plates, the lead's preciously thin, therefore can't do its magic and make electricity, if you see what I mean, in a layman's term. It can't get that capacity for amps. So what today I've had 3 batteries on charge that I know are defective. 2 of them have been on the Schumacher battery charger and they're showing 100%, but are they any good? So we're going to find that out. The 3rd battery has been on a little sort of like a trickle charger, 0.75 of an amp. Now, like I say, I know these are old batteries because I've tested them in the past, but once a battery is done, it's finished. There's not much you can do about it, apart from them chaps in Pakistan who will take them all to bits and put new lead in them and put them all back together again, and that's great. But we haven't always got that facility. So what's the best thing to do if you're going to lay your car up over winter, for example, and especially here when it's very, very cold? I'd suggest take your battery off and put it in the house. Not so your missus will stub a toe on it or anything like that, but put it somewhere where it's not so much warm, but it's not going to be cold. So don't take your battery off and put it in your garden shed, because that's a waste of time. But if you can't do that and you don't think, oh, I can't be bothered, you've got all those wires going to your battery for your winch and this, that and the other, you know, it's under your seat base of your Defender, it's a myriad of wires and you can't even see the bloody battery. What you can do is disconnect the terminal and fit a trickle charger or a battery tender. Now these are very, very good because they'll just keep that battery at peak perfection and stop it from getting too cold, because like I say, when the acid turns to water, it'll freeze. So as long as it keeps charge up, the acid won't freeze. Well, will when it gets very, 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 very cold, but we won't be interested in that too much. Now, why I say take off one of the terminals, well, it's for safety, but the other thing is you'll get a lot of, in modern radios and things like that, you'll get a little bit of a current for clocks and things like this, and ECUs and all sorts of bits and pieces. Need just them few milliamps just to keep going. Well, they all add up and they can drain your battery over a period of time. So you could use a cut-off switch, cut everything off. Alright, you might have to reset your clock, so big deal. But they do use current, so you know that's the best way to do it. And of course, if you use a battery tender, it only uses like half an amp. So it's not going to really draw on your electric bill, but it'll save your battery. And if you've lashed out and got a very expensive battery, you do not want to waste it. Money's too tight to mention now, so we've got to look after it. So on the bench at the beginning here, I've got a series of battery testers, and I'm going to show you which is the best bang for your buck. And it's quite surprising because the old ways are sometimes the best ways. Rob will know that. In the old days, now this is for, in the old days we used to test using the we used to test using the hydrometer. This is the closest thing I've got. This is for antifreeze testing. Tests the relative density of a liquid, but you can get one for batteries. The problem is, with older batteries, you used to have little screw caps and you used to put distilled water in to top them up. Them days have gone. They don't do that much now. They're all sort of sealed, and I'm looking at some on the floor. Yeah, no, they're all sealed up. Or they're extremely difficult to get the caps off. So this was good in the old days, but not so good now. All right, something like this. It's a little sucker. It'll pull liquid up, and it'll measure the how much acid or how much water's in that battery, and it'll have a little scale on like this to say if it's charged or discharged. So that's a cheapy one, old school, but like I said, nobody uses them anymore because you can't get the tops off. This little solar device I've had here, I've had this for quite a few years, and it's been quite good for detecting batteries because it tests the resistance within the battery, and resistance is usually caused by the sulfating plates. $89 or something like that. Handy little thing, tests your charge, you know, just the very basics, but it's been 99% right. If it says it's a bad battery, and I'll just take it down to the shop to get an exchange one, I'll say put it on your big machine, your professional machine, just to make sure, and it's been right. All right, so that was a nice one. I like that one. The one I used to use for many years was this carbon pile thing. It just looks like it's come out of a nuclear power station, but it's okay. It does the job, and it's what's called a load tester. So you've got some carbon piles in there, not emeroids. But as you turn this knob, you'll compress the piles together, and it creates a resistance. And they do get hot, so you shouldn't use them for more like 10 seconds. It's got 2 gauges on, and this is why it's a bit complicated to read, because in the blue scale at the bottom here, it measures your cold cranking amps of your battery. So say, for example, it's a 600 volt cold cranking amp battery, and when you put load onto it, it should stay around that period there. This is okay, but it's fragile. Drop it, it's broken. All right, and it is a little bit complicated to use, and it's heavy. You know, we're all getting a bit weak now. So, what's the other alternative? Well, we were given the other day this Top Don, which is a battery charger and tester. We'll fire that up later. We have already done a video on this one, and it's quite a good little machine, except you need a mobile phone to run it. Yeah, it's okay, it works on Bluetooth, does the job, but Bluetooth and things like that are just, I don't know, it's just added another piece of complexity to the job. So, what did I do the other day just for you viewers? Well, I lent out one of my old machines once and I never got it back, so the opportunity came up in Prince's Auto to get one of these. Now these old school things are a load tester, good old fashioned load testers, and they work very, very well. And I paid the princely sum of $19 for that, which is about 12 quid. So you've no excuses, and these are very robust. You can bang them around and stuff like this. Now, the good old days, like Rob used to have one of these, and these were pure copper. These are actually steel and copper plated. That's why they're cheap. And all it is a big resistor inside, and you clip it onto your battery, you push the button for 10 seconds, and it will tell you if the battery's good or bad. You know, it'll tell you if it's okay, bad, and it'll also test your charging. We're going to run through these in a minute, in the next section. But I just wanted to show you that because, like I said, that's quite a good little piece of kit. Now, I was just looking at the prices on Amazon. The exact same thing's like $79. You've got to be joking. So, Harbour Freight, Prince's Auto, and I think in the UK it's Clark's. Pick them up when they're on special. This was half price. but just go around them and just keep your eye on the flyers, because this is really good. And it doesn't need any batteries, it doesn't need anything, but it does a good job for a start-out piece of kit. You know, like for, you know, if you're going to start to get some tools together. There are some better electronic tools, such as these type of things with 2 cables on, and you can pay up to like $300 for them for like a professional machine. But I don't know, I don't need that really. Some of the better machines, when they're testing the alternator output, will test for spikes of AC within the DC charging. Now sometimes that can bugger up batteries, so it's one to look for, but have I ever come across it? I don't know, I don't think so. Maybe I have and I never noticed it, but I don't know, is it worth spending all that money on? You know, maybe it is. If you was just starting out in the trade and you want to check batteries, maybe it is. And most of them come with a little printer. You can print out the details and give it to your customer.